Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alyssa Corm and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of today's session. We're going to look at the major indexes, the action that we're seeing there, and underneath the surface, some interesting names, including a huge move today from Cleveland Cliffs, Ken.
Yes, the steel producers have been, performing pretty well for quite a while, but Cleveland Cliffs up 14.5% today. Apparently, this stock is now getting attention on some of these Reddit message boards, and I don't know if that's a good thing, frankly. But we'll talk about Cleveland Cliffs, and we'll also talk about China stock that is looking more and more interesting. Up Fintech, which has been described as the sort of the Robin Hood or potentially the Robin Hood of China, and finally take a look at Snap, which is also setting up. And question is the market going to let this one break out or not?
Okay, well, first let's take a look at the major indexes, kicking things off with the S&P 500. So down a little bit today, about 0.2%. We also had the NASDAQ down 0.1%, the Dow down 0.4%, and the Russell 2000 also down today about 0.7%. So even though right across the board today, you look at the S&P and it just looks like a little bit more of the same that we've seen as of late.
Yeah, it's really just volume has completely dried up on the NYSE and the Nasdaq, and I really just think that not really going out on a limb here. The market's in a kind of a holding pattern until it hears what the Fed policy statement is going to be next Wednesday. There's a 2-day meeting that occurs on Tuesday or Wednesday. So, the Dow is going to in position for a breakout try over the 35,000 level. The Nasdaq Composite, we'll see if it can break out over 14,000. But indexes are just kind of biding time here near highs and not moving much in either direction, which is ironic because each day that goes by, we're seeing these explosive gainers in a lot of the more speculative stocks.
Well, let's also just quickly look at small caps because a few standout sessions for the Russell 2000, taking one of the worst hits today, but still pretty sizable gain so far for the week, up about 1.8% and getting close to highs as well. So improving action there. And let's go ahead and take a look at some stocks that are on our radar. Cleveland Cliffs, one of the steel producers, gaining a stunning 15% today, Ken, in above average volume that you can really see down here at the bottom. So, when you compare Cleveland Cliffs to something like a Nucor or a Steel Dynamics, a bit more volatile, but what a big gain that we saw today from CLF.
Yeah, and apparently it's getting a discussion on some of these Reddit message boards. So this is obviously a liquid large cap stock. It's pretty amazing to see a percentage gain like this in a stock that's got a float of 489 million shares. To calculate a stock's float, you just take the shares outstanding and subtract those that are held by management. And float is really just the supply of shares that are in the marketplace to trade on any given day. So a float of 489 million shares, it really takes a lot of buying power, a lot of buying demand to move a stock, and to see a 14.5% gain today, pretty incredible. Now the question is, we look at the chart here. It's shown a lot of erratic, price swings on the weekly chart here. It's very difficult to ascertain any sort of proper entry. It's tried to break out a couple of times. It has reversed lower. So I don't think the stock is actionable here. It's especially in light of today's big price gain. But the bigger issue here is that we've seen just a lot of. We talked about it this morning. Arusha touched on it, and a lot of excessive speculation in the market, and it does. We've seen excessive speculation in the past, and sometimes it doesn't end well. So while indexes are holding near highs, to see this speculation spread out into some of these larger cap names, like we saw with Wendy's yesterday and Cleveland Cliffs today, even World Wrestling, WWE made a big move today. So I'm not a big fan of this excessive speculation. It can sometimes forewarn of some market weakness. But indexes are holding near high, so we'll have to just steady as she goes for now.
Yeah, something to be aware of that could be impacting where we're headed from here. And Tiger, TIGR, up fintech out of China, gaining 7.3% today, heavy volume. And we've seen a very strong move from this stock from 14 less than a month ago, now all the way to 26. So almost doubling in the course of a month here, Ken.
Yeah, and there's been some volume behind the recent price gains, something that we haven't seen a lot of, whether it's the major stock indexes or leading stocks. But there's been some signs of accumulation in up fintech. So I like the way the stock looks. It's not buyable up here, not after pretty much doubling in a short amount of time. But if we could see some sideways action from here, see trade start to tighten up, could get a new entry. But it was a pretty sharp pullback off its high. Went over 34 and corrected all the way down to 12 or something like that. So it's a China stock. It's speculative, but it does have a very interesting business as an online brokerage in China. They still have a lot of market share to gain. I was reading a report recently that said about 70% of the company's customers are below 35. So that's drawn some comparisons to Robinhood. But it's an interesting name. China stocks are tough. They're volatile. So anytime you buy a China stock, you want to start very small, and so you're not overly exposed. But I like this stock's accumulation recently, and going to wait for an entry here.
All right, very well said there in terms of the risks that can be potentially presented with something like this, but power is there, no doubt. And let's check in on Snap S&AP, gaining 2.7% today. Volume was light, but it looks like it is forming a handle here. And Ken, when you're talking about big winners from 2020 that are now forming bases and starting to come back to life, it seems like Snap is definitely in the mix there.
Yeah, and I think the latest pullback was about 35% off its high, which isn't excessive considering the scope of the stock's gains. The technical setup is just okay, but I do like the fact that it was able to rally back above its 50-day moving average. You can see volume down at the bottom, though. Really not a stock that looks like it's under meaningful accumulation at this point, but to see the stock back above the 50-day and even more so holding above the 60 level. If the Nasdaq can really get going here, and if the market likes what the Fed has to say, next week, and we start to see meaningful signs of accumulation in the Nasdaq, I think this is a technology stock that still has a chance to work. Even though Snap is not profitable yet, they have a lot of great new initiatives going on, and that's driving big revenue growth in recent quarters. So it's a very challenging environment for technology stocks right now, large cap technology stocks. But I still think Snap has a chance of working. We just need to see the Nasdaq really start moving here.
Right. Yeah. If we can get a heavy volume move to the maybe 64, 65 plus level, that would be above the meat of most of this trading action in the space.
Yeah, I mean, technically it's still in a downtrend, but it's not going to take much to move this stock out of a downtrend. So I'm really just looking at last week's high. You've got some recent highs, like you said, around 60, 64, 65, 66. But if Snap can make a decisive move above last week's high, that little handle that it's forming here, I think it might be worth a nibble. Small position to start, and again, the market is going to tell you pretty quickly if your timing is right.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Ken, for weighing in. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning on IBD Live with more. We hope you check it out, investors.com/IBD Live. We'll see you right back here after the close. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much. Bye.